In April 2020, I did an assessment of a transcript of a congressional hearing that had happened concerning intelligence activities. It was dated for June of 1999. I believe it was June 12th of 1999. It was notable because I understood that June 12th of 2020 would be 21 years after that report. It was also notable because the report occurred prior to September 11th. Actually, it might have been 2020. Actually, sorry. No, it was 1999. The reason that this was of concern is because it happened before September 11th. And one of the notable things about this report was that it was presided over, the hearing was presided over by Paul Bremer. And I'm pretty sure that the reason I cannot find any evidence of what I did as a formal response to this report, which I created a formal written response to this report, is because I identified the prepared remarks that Paul Bremer created for that specific hearing in a consideration of another report I did about the remarks that Michael Cohen provided prior to his appearance before Congress. See, there is a procedure. It states that if you are to testify before Congress, then you are to present any written prepared remarks at least 48 hours before your appearance. And my specific indication when I was having my verbal report was that what this did is it allowed Congress or people that had access to those prepared remarks, up to and including the person who prepared them themselves, to place some sort of benchmark that could take 48 hours to clear or publicly post. So that those prepared remarks could actually be a form of financialization or financing for something. And so you present the remarks up front, they review them, they make sure to prepare them for whatever happens that day, and then you go and you give your testimony, which is connected to whatever's in those prepared remarks. So I had mentioned this specifically more recently, and I guess somebody's interest in covering up their financial malfeasance outweighs the importance of what was mentioned in that report. In this report specifically, Bremer was giving a presentation about a couple of things that were very noteworthy. One, he was describing specific things that were required by intelligence agencies in the United States. And one of the major obstacles that they were confronting at that time is there had been some changes that had determined what was considered to be appropriate recruitment strategy. And that there had been a previous recruitment strategy, and then there had been one that had been implemented. And his recommendation was that he did not necessarily like the new kinds of procedures that were being implemented. And twice during that congressional hearing, there was reference, once by Bremer and once, I believe, by somebody else, specifically to changes to intelligence policy, specifically regarding foreign intelligence, that had been implemented by President Bill Clinton, that were to be discussed in closed session. And they were having problems with whatever it was that Clinton was proposing as the changes specifically to recruitment for intelligence operations. The understanding of how you engage with people, who you recruit, how you recruit them. And whatever it was that Clinton personally, as president, decided to implement as changes to recruitment strategy regarding intelligence was something that people in the national intelligence sector had serious problems with. The problems they had were so serious, they would not say them in front of people during an official congressional meeting, during an official congressional committee meeting that would be on the record. These had to be discussed behind closed doors. And so when I did my report on April 12th, I did a review where I read through the report and I took excerpts that I was going to analyze as part of what was going to be my response. And not only that, I also prepared my own report. I recall, I cannot find, right now, I cannot find the original report. It was in my files. Who decided to delete an actual congressional hearing on intelligence activities from before September 11th from my information. Why can't I find it? Why would you steal that? Not only did you steal that, you also stole my report, which was intended to be a benchmark in consideration of the 21st anniversary of that report. These things are very important. And what do I have instead? Something also that happened, which is a voice file of me talking about what it means to be a girl with a burner card. You know, like when you go to the drugstore and you get one of those prepaid cards. And I'm talking about how you're not able to forestall or guard or track against acts of money laundering when you use these prepaid cards. Not only does it prevent people from being able to accumulate credit because they might actually do a good job with it, but it's also how you launder money. You give a girl some cash. You tell her to go buy a prepaid card. Nobody tracks it, and unless she registers it, which how often do you do that? You can't even do that with all of the cards, right? So go out. Here's $1,000. Go out, buy 10 cards with $100 each. Give one to each of your girls. You put that as part of what's my background, as opposed to me doing a 2-day analysis of a 20-year observation, investigation, and follow through on what was actually a national security strategy report before Congress that was on the record that also addressed and expressed problems with ongoing policy by the current presidential administration regarding recruitment of intelligence assets. See, this was around the time when they used to talk about trafficking as a crime, as opposed to a marketing strategy. Where is my analysis of Ambassador Bremer's response before Congress concerning intelligence activities during the summer of 1999? Who decided it was in their interest to steal that and make it look like I'm giving business advice to girls about how to get burner cards?